Today we're going to dive into another tech tool playground tip, and joining me today is tech guru Mekca. Hey Mekca.
Hi.
Hi, tell us where you're at and what you're going to teach us.
Well, I am in Centerville, Iowa. My physical location is this lovely server room. Can you see how all of our devices back there that are probably going to go to a boneyard somewhere? So yeah, I'm here in snowy, cold Iowa today. I don't know if you could see it clear up here at the top. See this little guy up here? Can you see that little burst pop open? So this is Jing, Jing, by TechSmith. And so if any of you are familiar with Camtasia, they used to have a Snagit, I think is another product that they had. I just use the free version of Jing, and Jing is a screencasting tool. So as a former biology teacher, I liked to use Jing for a variety of things. I would create my own sort of bite-sized videos that went with lessons. I also flipped my classroom or did some blended models. The last year I taught, I had some issues that took place in my family, and so it was a great tool to use knowing that I was going to be absent, because I didn't always have teachers that felt comfortable. For example, I taught anatomy, so if we were dissecting the human heart, they were more comfortable if I created a video tutorial. Now, if you flipped that, I talked a lot about how teachers can use Jing, but your students can use Jing to create video lessons themselves. So it's just a really great tool to use as a study resource, or again, if you're asking them to present in a different way besides a PowerPoint or a deck of slides. As the teacher also, this is another thing that I did. I created my own videos and then made them interactive. So at the end, I would have some questions that went along with them, or I would even embed them in like Edpuzzle, for example. Jing just hangs out here on my desktop. It's easy to get to with this little sunburst. I'll show it to you, and then I'll show you another, I guess, feature of it that I enjoy. So you just go to this little spot here, and it allows you to capture. And so a couple ways then you can, when you let go of it, you have this option to capture an image or capture a video. Now I'm using a free version, so it's a max 5 minutes, which I actually kind of like, because it causes me to be very succinct and to the point. And I tell my teachers all the time, and this is somewhat stretching it, 30 seconds or so per grade level, or a minute per grade level in terms of creating that video. So if I were creating videos for my 17-year-olds, for example, I would never create one probably much past 7 or 8 minutes. So when I capture it, it's just as easy as hitting the capture button. And then also if I click on the image button, can you all see that it took a picture of that? Okay, so when it takes a picture, here's what I really liked about this, because again, if I were going to be gone, for example, or even if I wanted to create just a bite-sized video for it, I just took a snapshot. And then I have these options of, here's an arrow that I can use over top of it. And if I had something I want to draw attention to, I can also include text, and then also some highlighting I can do over top of things. I can change those colors and so on. So I liked that I was able to annotate over top of my images. It was just very easy. And then I have the option then to save it. I've lost track of what's real on my screen and what's not. So down below here, I can name it, of course, if you could still see that. and then I can save it. And if I choose to save it, then of course that's going to go to my computer, or whatever I'm saving it to. But I can also then, this kind of goes back to Kari's question, I can choose to share it as a screencast. And so it's out there in the magical cloud then, and so screencast.com. So then I can go there, and then I have a link that I can share. And so, and that, you know, that's nice, easily shared then in by copying a link. Get rid of that. And I was doing this today just in my Google Classroom, for example. So it's really nice and easy to get links out there. And you can do the same thing with the video in terms of sharing it.
I like that you can annotate right on the image. Certainly you can take just a screenshot of something and then upload that to Google Slides or Google Drawing or just a doc and add those highlights and things like that. But it is handy that you could take that snapshot and edit all of that stuff just right there and have one image where everything, you have your note, clarification, your arrow, your highlight, all there on whatever you're working on. Kari W., you mentioned the Screencastomatic or Screencastify.
I mostly use Screencastify because it integrates with Google Drive. And so it automatically sets up a Google Drive folder and then puts your videos into that Google Drive folder. So there's not any kind of an extra added step. I used Screencastomatic and Screencastify both when I flipped my classroom. Screencastomatic first, then discovered Screencastify. But so it just has this little, I just have the extension on my web browser, and I can just pop it right up there and quickly record whatever's on my screen. And then, like I said, the thing that I love about this is that then it automatically creates that folder and saves it into Google Drive for me. And then I don't have to do that extra step anywhere. And I'm all about saving as many steps as I can in one shot. So Screencastomatic, I was doing several different steps because I was saving it to my computer, then I was uploading it to it, you know, and this, you don't have to do that, which also makes it easier if you're going to have students use this as well to record Google, you know, slide presentations or whatever. It's a lot easier for them to just automatically have it go into a Drive folder than having to do all that downloading, uploading, you know, moving around as well. So those are, I mean, that's the main reason I like Screencastify, and it is, you know, it's simple, it's easy to use. It gives you 10 minutes. So it is a little bit longer. Screencastomatic did 15, but I'm with Mekca, like I taught 5th graders, so they probably were not going to sit through even a 10-minute video. So 6 or 7 was my limit anyway. But if you need something that's longer, Screencastomatic, at least when I was using it before, did allow 15 minutes. Screencastify allows 10.
So when you go to Screencastomatic, you will have this very basic, you will create an account. So you will have your videos. You have this very simple start recorder button. And it is going to ask you if you actually want to start the recorder. You will tell it that yes, you do. And then you will have this lovely little box that will show up on your screen. You can size the box, and then it will allow you to record whatever is in the box. When you're ready to record, you can choose to record just your screen, just your webcam, or a combination of both. So I just hit record. It gives me a lovely little countdown, and now I'm recording. I can move my cursor over things, and I can circle things with my cursor. You don't see anything now, but you will. I can pause my recording. One of the things that Screencast-O-Matic does that Screencastify and some of the others that I've tested out doesn't do, it has this lovely little truncate button. It's hard to see, but you can seek back to the last point of recording. So I've recorded for 12 seconds, almost 13 seconds. But if I didn't like that, I can just delete the most recent section that I've recorded. I think you can see all kinds of reasons why that would be very handy. So if you do demo something and then you pause so you can bring up your next piece of information, and then a student walks in and they start talking to you because they have a question, you can just delete that last thing instead of having to re-record your entire video. So I highly recommend that as you are testing out Screencast-O-Matic, that you do use the pause feature. Do one little nugget, hit pause, get some water, get it resituated to however you want it, because now I could zoom in onto a specific thing that I really wanted to focus on. And now I can record again. It gives me the countdown. And now I'm just recording that portion. When I'm done, I just click done. And then it's going to process. This is the second main reason why I prefer Screencast-O-Matic to Screencastify. I can save it as a video file. At least the last time I used Screencast-O-Matic, you did not have the option to save it straight up as an MP4 file on the free version. That was a paid feature. So you had to publish to YouTube. And I might not always want to publish to YouTube. If I have a class web page, if I have a Schoology learning management system, if I'm using Seesaw, if I'm using all kinds of different content management systems, I don't necessarily want to upload things to YouTube and then use those links. I would rather have YouTube out of it. At least that's my preference. So I just save them as a video. Then you have some options. You can rename it, set your destination. Where do you want it to save to? This is where you can have the cursor active, or you can turn it off so that there's no cursor. So when I was showing you that I was circling things, that's where you can set if that's going to circle and show what you're highlighting or cursoring. So you can't see that as a highlighter while you're recording, but it does have a cursor that will show where your mouse is if you want it to show that. Other ideas about using the screencasting type tool, or how you have used those as teachers?
Well, I had kids do it a lot. When I moved from an iPad classroom to a Chromebook classroom, that was when Screencastify became common practice. Was with the iPad, it was so easy for them to make videos and take photos, and that mobile device lends itself so nicely to that. And then we used tools like Seesaw where they could audio record themselves. Screencastify was nice because they could make a slide deck, hit the Screencastify, and talk their way through a slide deck. They could upload a Google Doc that they had done some writing, and they could read their writing, or they could add a story or something like that. So they liked that extra piece of audio recording and publishing their writing that way.
Beth, one of the other teachers on, pointed out that any of these screencasting tools would be a great way to record your lesson, even like while you're teaching it. Or before, like Mekca said, you could certainly record the lesson beforehand, like for a sub or for other sick students, but you could certainly record something while you're doing it, you know, period one. And if that video works, then that way, yeah, any kids who are absent for sports or who are sick, they now also have your same explanation that you could share. And she also suggested, I like this too, for students who are gone on presentation days or who have high anxiety about presenting, have them present their slide deck or their presentation using Screencast-O-Matic, Screencastify, Jing, one of those recording tools. Thank you for coming and sharing these tools with us. I'm really excited to hear stories from teachers, from the classroom, of how these tools are working for you, or other ideas that you have for utilizing this and all of these other tech tools in the classroom.